It was a crisp autumn Saturday in 2010 when Alex, a high school senior, and his friends Rachel and Jack set out on an adventure to explore the depths of a hidden cave in Vancouver that was somewhat a talk of the town. The story and the cave itself is fairly less known, which is a good thing considering what happened there. As they geared up, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had been caving for years, and this trip was a chance to share his passion with his friends. Rachel, an experienced rock climber, was eager to test her skills in the cave's narrow passages, while Jack, a novice, was eager to learn. The group began their descent into the cave, their headlamps casting eerie shadows on the walls. They made their way through the entrance passage. As they ventured deeper, the air grew cooler and damper, and the sound of dripping water became a constant companion. As they navigated through the winding passages, Alex led the way, his knowledge of the cave's layout guiding them through the darkness. As they approached an area which can be called a squeeze penetration, which was a slope angled a bit steeper and upwards, it led to two passages, one towards a chamber, while the other one became even narrower and led to uncharted territory. Alex warned his friends about the narrow passage ahead. Rachel, confident in her abilities, took the lead, squeezing through the tight spot with ease. Jack followed closely behind, his breathing labored as he pushed through the constricted space. Comparing the three, Rachel is a slim girl of around 5 feet 3 inches, while Jack is 5'7" with a moderate build. However, Alex at the occasion was taller than 6 feet and weighed around 166 pounds. Alex crawled upwards towards the narrow passage. He went in head first, and it all seemed good until he started feeling a tight squeeze towards his chest. He started to panic, and probably the anxiety got the better of him. Disoriented, he tried to push forward and took the wrong route. His body was stuck, unable to move either forward or backward. Rachel and Jack, oblivious to Alex's predicament, continued on, their lights disappearing around the next bend. Alex's cries for help were muffled by the sound of dripping water, and his friends were too far ahead to hear his pleas. As the minutes ticked by, Alex's panic turned to desperation. He knew that his friends would soon realize he was missing and come back for him, but he feared it might be too late. The air in the passage was growing stale, and he could feel his chest tightening and his heartbeat pacing. Meanwhile, Rachel and Jack had reached the breathtaking chamber. They were caught up observing the beauty of the cave, their lights dancing across the crystals. But as they turned to leave, they realized Alex was nowhere to be seen. Rachel's heart sank as she realized her friend was missing. She quickly retraced their steps, her light scanning the passage for any sign of Alex. Jack followed closely behind, his face etched with worry. As they approached the squeeze penetration, Rachel's light landed on Alex's legs. She held his legs and called his name out, trying to reassure him. "Alex, we are here. Everything is going to be all right," she cried. Jack pushed himself through the passage, trying to make some room for him to go through. Having a smaller stature, he somehow succeeded and went for help. Rachel knew that Alex was in grave danger, and every minute counted. It was important for Alex to have faith more than anyone. Rachel kept reminding him that help is on its way and they will save him. Jack sprinted through the cave, his heart racing with fear. He finally reached the entrance and called for help, his voice shaking as he relayed the situation to the authorities. The rescue team arrived within an hour, their trained eyes scanning the passage. They quickly assessed the situation and began to work on extracting Alex from the narrow passage. As the minutes ticked by, Alex's situation grew more dire. His body was beginning to shut down, and his mind was clouded with fear. But Rachel's reassuring presence kept him going. Finally, after what seemed like an eternity, the rescue team managed to free Alex from the passage in a critical state. They carried him out of the cave, their lights illuminating the dark passageway. He was rushed to the hospital, however, unfortunately, he passed away before they could reach. Floyd Collins was an experienced caver who had spent countless hours exploring the depths of Mammoth Cave in Kentucky. He was known for his fearlessness and expertise in navigating the treacherous passages of the cave. It was on a cold winter's day in 1925 that Floyd set out on his most daring adventure yet. Armed with little more than a lantern and a spirit of adventure, He ventured into the heart of Sand Cave as a solo explorer, a cave filled with tunnels and chambers hidden beneath the surface of the earth. As Floyd made his way deeper into the cave, he felt a sense of excitement wash over him. The air was cool and damp, the walls slick with moisture, and the darkness enveloped him like a shroud. But Floyd was undeterred, his eyes fixed on the prize that lay ahead. As Collins made his way deeper into the cave, he encountered a narrow crawlway that he had never seen before. Despite his initial hesitation, he decided to push forward, squeezing through the tight passage with ease. And then, without warning, disaster struck. As Floyd crawled through the passage, a massive rock suddenly dislodged from the cave ceiling, crashing down and trapping his leg beneath its weight. In an instant, Floyd went from fearless explorer to helpless victim, his cries for help echoing through the darkness. Panic began to set in, as Collins realized the gravity of his situation. He was alone, with no one to help him, and no way to communicate with the outside world. As the hours ticked by, Collins' situation grew increasingly dire. He was running out of air, and he was going through excruciating pain. Despite his efforts to free himself, he was unable to move, and his hopes of rescue began to dwindle. Above ground, Floyd's absence did not go unnoticed. Collins' friends and family were growing concerned. They had expected him to return by nightfall, but as the hours passed, there was no sign of him. Soon, word spread throughout the community about the trapped cave explorer. A sense of urgency gripped the town, and a massive rescue effort was launched to free Floyd from his rocky prison. The terrain was treacherous, the passages narrow and winding, and progress was slow. Despite the best efforts of the rescue teams, they struggled to reach Floyd's location, their hopes fading with each passing day. As the days turned into weeks, Floyd remained trapped in the darkness, his situation growing more desperate by the hour. He fought against the pain and the fear, clinging to the hope that help would soon arrive. But deep down, he knew that his time was running out. As the search party continued their search, they began to realize the magnitude of Collins' mistake. He had underestimated the difficulty of the cave and had ventured too far in without proper equipment or support. They knew that Collins was inexperienced, but they also knew that even the most experienced ones can make mistakes. As the hours turned into days, the search party grew more desperate. They had found no sign of Collins, and they were beginning to lose hope, but they refused to give up, knowing that Collins was still out there, waiting to be found. Finally, the search party found Collins' body, wedged in the narrow crawlway with a huge boulder trapping his legs. After nearly 2 weeks of being trapped in the cave, Floyd Collins succumbed to his injuries and passed away alone in the darkness. His death sent shockwaves through the community and sparked a national conversation about the risks of cave exploration.
Picture yourself struggling to find your way through a narrow, underwater tunnel, your lungs burning for air as darkness envelops you. Can you feel the suffocating grip of the cave, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on you? Join us as we delve into the depths of despair, inviting you to imagine the horrors of facing nature's relentless fury. A caving disaster which is difficult to digest. You might be aware of the John Jones Nutty Putty tragedy. We have done a video about it as well. The incident took place in Utah and is one of the most famous caving tragedies to happen. In the same state, another caving tragedy occurred 4 years prior. It is the GOLLUM'S cave tragedy, a cave famously known as the Cave of Death. In 2005, 5 companions embarked on a journey to a cave in Provo, Utah. Only one of them emerged from the depths. This is their tale. Provo, the 4th largest city in Utah, sits merely 43 miles or 69 kilometers away from Salt Lake City. Despite its urban facade, the region harbors numerous caves, attracting adventurers seeking subterranean thrills. In August of 2005, Scott McDonald, Blake Donner, Jennifer Lynn Galbraith, Ariel Singer, and Joseph Ferguson set out for a cave near Y Mountain. Dubbed Gollum's Cave by some enthusiasts, this narrow passage, once a mine shaft, was fed by underground springs. Despite its ominous nickname, the cave's accessibility belied its danger, located just a short hike from a local golf course. Jennifer Galbraith, despite having experienced hypothermia and passing out during a prior venture through the watery tunnel, reassured her friends that they could hold their breath and navigate the 15-foot swim to the adjacent cave. Eager to share this hidden gem with her companions, Blake Donner, Scott McDonald, and Ariel Singer agreed to join her. At 3 a.m., the friends gathered at the cave's entrance where a guide rope awaited, leading into the depths. As they prepared to venture forth, Joseph Ferguson opted to remain outside, jokingly dubbing the site the Cave of Death. This choice proved fateful. While his companions delved into the murky waters, Ferguson stayed behind, awaiting their return. Tragically, he would be the sole survivor among the five. Armed with just one flashlight, McDonald, Donner, Galbraith, and Singer proceeded into Gollum's cave at 4:30 a.m., an hour and a half after their arrival. Inside, they navigated a watery path to the left until they reached a small cave housing a waterhole and a tunnel leading to the main cavern. The tunnel, approximately 15 feet long, required swimming and was guided by a rope, offering a sense of security. With Jennifer leading the way, they one by one descended into the narrow passage filled with frigid water, barely wide for one person to fit and 4 feet high. Following the rope, the group progressed smoothly through the tunnel, emerging in the larger cavern without incident. This cavern boasted 6-foot sloping ceilings and purportedly sufficient air for safe exploration. However, trouble arose during the return swim. Cavers familiar with the cave suggested that while the initial swim seemed straightforward with the guide rope in place, accidents could occur if cavers accidentally lost hold of the rope and struggled to locate it in the murky waters. Frantically searching for the rope could stir up sediment, reducing visibility and exacerbating the situation. With sediment stirred up in the water, visibility likely plummeted to near zero, disorienting anyone in the vicinity. One more caver, recalling a previous visit, recounted a similar experience of inadvertently swimming past the exit hole on the return journey, necessitating a challenging backward swim to find the way out. Maneuvering in water with reduced visibility, compounded by the presence of 3 other swimmers, may have rendered such a task impossible for the friends. Carbon dioxide poisoning presents another potential hazard. The air quality in the main cavern could have been compromised, leading to disorientation. Subsequent tests revealed low oxygen levels in the farther chamber, indicating a risk of asphyxiation. However, the exact conditions at the time of the incident remain uncertain. Unfortunately, the air quality within the small space was likely compromised, a common hazard in cave environments. This bad air refers to any air that deviates from the normal composition of 21% oxygen and 79% nitrogen, with trace amounts of other gases. In stagnant caves with closed water sources, carbon dioxide buildup is a significant concern. Several factors contributed to the accumulation of carbon dioxide. Visitors spending time in the inner chamber gradually depleted oxygen levels, while carbon dioxide levels increased. Additionally, the natural erosion of limestone caves, along with plant decay, contributed to carbon dioxide seepage. Evidence of burning candles further reduced available oxygen. With no airflow, carbon dioxide settled at higher concentrations near the water level. Unaware of the worsening air quality, the friends likely experienced diminished cognitive and physical abilities even after just a brief stay in the inner chamber. This compromised state would have made the return swim perilous. Recognizing the danger, they may have attempted to leave immediately. However, due to the narrow tunnel and limited space, only one person could exit at a time. Jennifer, exiting first, likely struggled to find the exit hole before running out of breath. Diminished oxygen levels would have severely shortened her breath-holding capacity, potentially leading to unconsciousness within 60 seconds. Frantically feeling along the tunnel ceiling, she fought for survival, while her companions remained unaware of her plight in the suffocating darkness. The cave, once promising an exhilarating challenge, became a suffocating trap. As they succumbed to its unyielding grip, their thoughts drifted to the world outside, a world filled with hopes, dreams, and loved ones anxiously awaiting their return. Ariel, next in line to exit, would have faced similar challenges. In an environment with even a slight increase in carbon dioxide levels, her respiration rate would have doubled, exacerbating her struggle for breath. With a final burst of energy, she would have desperately searched for the exit, her efforts surreal in the dire circumstances. Blake and Scott, already struggling in the oppressive atmosphere, would have felt the effects of low oxygen and high carbon dioxide levels intensify with each passing minute. The darkness only heightened the sense of panic and discomfort. Entering the tunnel after a brief wait, Blake, in a diminished state, would have felt a sense of urgency to escape. Encountering his motionless friends would have sparked confusion and alarm, complicating navigation through the narrow passage. With little room to maneuver, attempting to aid Ariel would have been nearly impossible. Meanwhile, Joseph, alone in the dark inner cave, endured the longest suffering. Desperate for escape, his journey through the tunnel was halted by the presence of his unconscious friends. In his depleted state, he may have succumbed to unconsciousness rapidly. While Joseph Ferguson patiently waited outside the cave, unaware of the unfolding crisis, precious time elapsed before he sought help. Not until 45 minutes later did he contact a friend for guidance, eventually prompting the emergency call at 6:30 a.m., 2 hours after the group's entry. Emergency crews faced challenges upon arrival, as many responders were unfamiliar with Gollum's cave. Had the cave's existence been known, swift action could have been taken to prevent the tragedy. Consequently, a specialized rescue team from the city of Orem was summoned to assist. Despite efforts to pump oxygen into the cave and drain water from the submerged passage, the rescue mission ended in tragedy. All 4 friends were found drowned in the underwater passage, their bodies discovered close together, facing the same direction as if attempting to exit. Their adventure ended tragically, the cave transforming from a beacon of mystery to a silent testament to the unforgiving nature of the wild. Their bodies, drained of energy and oxygen, could no longer fight against the cave's relentless embrace. The struggle ceased, leaving behind a somber silence in the underwater cave. Following the incident, the cave was sealed shut, marked by a plaque in memory of those who perished. Though closed, water still trickles from the sealed entrance, a solemn reminder of the lives lost in the depths of Gollum's cave.